everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you'd like. Today I have for you my February reading wrap-up. February was a weird month for me. I feel like I really front-loaded the first 2 weeks of the month with a ton of reading, and then the second 2 weeks I would kind of just like sporadically picking things up a few pages at a time and reading a lot less. I still have 10 books to talk to you guys about in this video, which is less than I normally would have for a monthly wrap-up, but still quite a few, so why don't we skip all of the dilly-dallying and just get right into it. So if you saw my January wrap-up, you would know that in 2026, I am trying something a little bit new. I'm not doing like star ratings or a number system for rating my books. Instead, I have like a tier list of sorts, and I will be talking about the books in order from least enjoyed to most enjoyed according to those tiers. The first tier, the bottom tier, is F, standing for finishing this book in this economy, and I do have one book in that category, and that is Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. This is a very shiny cover because it is a library book that I will be very happy to turn back in. I got 149 pages into this book, which was about 21%. I truly just did not care about anything that was going on. It was so boring and like kind of nonsensical in an annoying way. I just did not want to keep going. And if I was 149 pages into this book and I had like 100 left, I would have been like, you know what, let's just finish it out. But the fact that I had 550 pages to go at 149 pages into it, I was not going to put myself into that. This book is so long, and I just didn't want to read all of it because I did not care. So I DNF'd it. It is fortunately my only DNF of the month, but it was a DNF nonetheless. Moving up a step, we come to the D tier, and there are 2 books in this tier. This stands for disappointing to say the least, so I am a little bit sad that 2 books ended up here, but it is what it is. The first book was Sibylline by Melissa de la Cruz. This had so many elements that I should have absolutely adored. I should have been obsessed with this book. It is a polyamorous romance at a magical dark academia university setting, and on paper, well, I was gonna say on paper that sounds good, but on paper it was very bad. This book was very bland. None of the elements really came together in a satisfying way. For starters, we have 3 main characters. Let's see if I remember their names. They had very, like, classically dark academia names. We had Raven, who could speak any language and understand any language situationally, so she can't just, like, start speaking a random language, but for example, in one of the earlier chapters, they're in the park, all these main characters, and she hears some lost German tourists trying to figure out where they are, and her brain kind of like clicks, and she's able to communicate with them in German, which is a really cool power. We see a little bit of that. I'm satisfied with her powers. I think she is used very well in this book. Then the 2 male characters are Atticus and Dorian. I don't remember which one is which, but one of them can, like, read the history of objects when he touches them, and also like people. He can like see people's history, and also his power kind of like grows over the course of the book in a way that doesn't really make sense. And then the other one can read minds. He's just your classic run-of-the-mill psychic, and I might get this wrong because I truly don't remember which male character was which, but Raven was in love with Atticus, but Atticus was in love with Dorian, and then Dorian was in love with Raven, and they all know about this for years. Like, they've known that this is their situation, and so they've all kind of just resigned themselves to being friends. But then, over the course of the book, they start to realize that maybe they all want to be more than friends with the whole triad. And that's fine. It was done a little bit weirdly, but, like, that's fine. The thing that gets me happens in the very first 2 chapters of the book. I feel like this is the most annoying part for me, is that we get these 3 characters. They want to go to this magical university. They will not settle for less. This is the one. It's called Sibylline. This is where they want to go to study magic. They can't even fathom going to anywhere else, and none of them get in. So they're like, okay, what if we get jobs on campus and then we can, drop in on lectures, befriend some professors, and like do all this stuff to learn magic without actually being students of the university. And then we skip immediately to them doing that in the next chapter. Like, they don't show any of the struggles of them actually achieving this, and they get like great positions. One of them becomes a like curator at this magical museum. One ends up taking on this architectural position because he worked uh, at his mom's architecture firm, and they're trying to like restore this old tower. And Raven ends up working at the magical library. So, like, it would have been cool if we saw them trying to like get in, and then, spoiler alert for the end of this book, at the end, when they like solve this whole mystery and save the school and all that, because that's what's gonna happen, the dean, he's not called the dean, he has like a special name, like warden or something, is like, I saw the potential in you guys and I couldn't admit you for like political reasons or whatever, but I still wanted you here because I knew you could solve this mystery that I saw brewing. And I'm like, bro, that's such a dumb cop out. That was so stupid. Also, this is marketed as YA. It is technically new adult, although new adult is still not a widely accepted age category, but they are going to college, and that is a new adult setting. Um, but it is still technically marketed as YA, most likely because this is a female author. And the this is more spoilers. There is an exorcism that happens to save one of the male main characters' lives. He's like being possessed by this ghost creature thing. I don't really know. And the exorcism happens. He's like on the brink of death, and in order to save his life, they have a weird threesome in the spirit realm, astral realm, whatever you want to call it. And I'm like, what is happening? How did we get here? It was so dumb. I really did not like this book, and I will not be reading the sequel. The other book in the D tier was The Last Vampire by Romina Garber, and this is my last straw with this author. I've read, I think, 3 of her books at this point, and they all are just so surface level and, like, unimpressive. Like, they don't delve into anything interesting. This is a book that feels like Twilight if it was trying and failing to be a dark academia book, but also you surgically removed anything remotely compelling about Twilight. Like, I will not say that Twilight is good, but it's compelling. I think it is a compelling story. The Last Vampire is not that. I think, yeah, at one point they even watched Twilight in this. There's a lot of like literary drops in this, and I did not like that. But this is essentially about our main character, Lorena, and her best friend going to this new private boarding school for their senior year, and Lorena discovers a vampire. And this book is described as Pride and Prejudice meets Crave, and I can definitely see Crave. The Pride and Prejudice, first of all, they read Pride and Prejudice in this book, and it's so heavy-handed trying to fit Lorena and what's his name? William, I think, the vampire, into this. And they also read Dracula, they read Jane Eyre, and they're trying so hard to shoehorn the characters into those archetypes, and it just isn't working. Also, this is a spoiler alert, but it really pissed me off. We learn in, I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's like chapter 20 something. We learn that William is the last vampire, and it's like, oh wow, like what's gonna happen? He's the last vampire, it's the title of the book. And then the next chapter, we meet 2 more vampires. And they're like, yeah, there's actually like 50 of us, and we're trying to like build up our empire again. Why is this called The Last Vampire? What? And then later on they try and retcon it and like mean the last vampire in like a different sense, but even that isn't true. And it's so freaking dumb. I do not think I'll be reading any more Romina Garber after this because I was so pissed off reading this book. Next up is the C tier, which stands for Could Take It or Leave It. These are books that I'm kind of ambivalent about. I didn't dislike them, but I also didn't particularly love them, and thankfully I don't have any in this category. All of the other books I'll be talking about are ones that I genuinely enjoyed. So following that up, we have the B tier, and B stands for Been a Good Reading Experience. and the first book in this tier is The Change by K.A. Applegate. I've lost track of what number book I'm at in the Animorphs, 14, 15, somewhere in there, still early days, but I really enjoyed this one. It's not my favorite of the series so far, but it is still really good. This is a Tobias POV, and I think he's really solidified as my favorite POV of the series, and he gets some major development in his personal plotline. There's also, I don't want to spoil this one, which is crazy because these books came out in like the 90s, and also they're kids' books. Like, who's reading Animorphs nowadays besides me? Um, but yeah, there is this character who we have seen before, but I don't remember him. He popped up and I was like, oh yeah, I guess this guy is familiar, and he's very powerful, and I don't know how I feel about that character, but I still enjoyed this book. I love the Animorphs. They're so short and fast and a good time. I'm very excited to delve further into the series. There are 54 books, so I've got like 40-ish to go. So I will be reading these books for quite a while. Next up is the first book in the Enna of Ilbrea series by Megan O'Russell. It's called Ember and Stone. I read the prequel novella in January and then picked up book 1 in February. I will not be continuing that and like reading book 2 in March, etc., etc. This was just a nice little back-to-back moment. This book was interesting. I feel like the first 2/3 of it were very bland and like your run-of-the-mill fantasy romantasy vibe. But then that last third, I was so invested. When I tell you I almost bought and started reading book 2 immediately, I had to restrain myself. I was invested in the last third. But the first 2/3 were just kind of going along for the ride. The romantic relationship between Enna, our main character, and Liam is very basic, but in a way that I'm like kind of eating up. You know, those moments where you're like, this isn't doing anything special, but I'm still kind of obsessed with it. I do not like Emmett. Emmett is Enna's brother, and I think he's so boring and so annoying, and I just want him gone. We also have, do I remember his name? Finn? Is his name Finn? Flynn? Something like that? I don't know. I'm so bad with names, you guys. But he's a side character that I thought was really funny. I liked him a lot. But yeah, I'm not highly prioritizing this series, but I do want to continue it in the future. Next up, we have Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. Originally, I put Warbreaker on my TBR because I got the prompt of, oh, my hair is getting in my face. I got the prompt of a book by an author tuber, and Brandon Sanderson does in fact have a YouTube channel, so he counts, and I put Warbreaker on the TBR. But then I found this book in a little free library, and I wanted to read this one instead, so I did. And this was really fun. I didn't absolutely love it, hence why it's in the B tier, but it was still a good time. It was very silly. The narration is really what the drawback was for me. I did not like our narrator, and I know he narrates some of the other standalone Cosmere novels, so I'm not really looking forward to that, even though I'm still looking forward to reading those books. But I am very particular about humor in books, and I fear that this leaned a little too far towards the Douglas Adams type of humor and not to the Terry Pratchett type of humor. And I love Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, do not like that kind of humoristic writing. I do love the Terry Pratchett kind of humor writing, and this did lean a little too far Douglas Adams for me to really love it, but it was still a good time. I don't like this cover. I feel like her proportions are really weird, but then on the inside, they've got like this really pretty version, and I love this, and I wish this was the actual cover, obviously like in color, but yeah, I don't know why it's different, but it is still very pretty. I like the green, and I'm excited to have another Brandon Sanderson under my belt. This next book is one that I really thought I was going to be obsessed with because I was obsessed with another book by this author, but unfortunately I just enjoyed it. I wasn't super into it. and that book is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. I loved One Dark Window and really enjoyed Two Twisted Crowns, so I picked this up thinking it was going to be a new favorite, and it wasn't, but I still had a good time, hence being in the B tier. The B tier is nothing to be ashamed of, it is still a good rating. But there were just some little nitpicky things that I didn't really love. First of all, who is this on the cover? Because it is not our main character. All of this hair, our main character Sybil, has like a silver bob, and our male main character has black hair. So whose hair is this? That really bothers me. Um, Not a fan of this, but it is very pretty under the dust jacket. Like, that's stunning. I'm obsessed. Um, but yeah, I really loved the world building. I thought that was so cool. It was the character work that was not my favorite. Sybil was fine, but she wasn't my favorite protagonist. The love interest, Rory, I did not like him to start. It took me a long time to actually enjoy him as a character. We got there, but it took a while. One thing that really bothers me is that his name is Roderick Mendacious, and that does not sound like the love interest in a romantasy book to me. That sounds like a Jack Black character. And that's not to like burn Jack Black. I love Jack Black, but he is not your typical romantasy lead. And so the fact that I was kind of picturing him a little bit was not correct. Also, Sybil just keeps referring to him as mendacious, and I hate that. It was so annoying. And Rory was so annoying, especially at the beginning. He's constantly rolling his eyes. At one point, it says he rubbed at his eye with his middle finger. And I'm like, are you 12? Like, so stupid. Um, the twists and reveals I did see coming from a mile away, but was still interested in their reveal. I thought that that was well done. I feel like this could have been a standalone. We did not need the twist at the end that opened it up for the sequel, but alas, I still will be reading that, and I hope it has a better cover than this one because I'm just not impressed by this. I get what they were going for, but I just think this is like not it for me. So yeah. Good book. Wish it had been great, but I'm still happy with what I got. Moving on, we finally are breaking into the A tier. A standing for Actually Lives in My Head Rent Free. These are books that I have been thinking about long past finishing them, and the first book in this category is Barbarian's Taming by Ruby Dixon, book 8? Question mark in the Ice Planet Barbarians series. This was Maddie and Hassan's story, and it was exactly what I wanted out of their dynamic. For context, if you don't know Ice Planet Barbarians, basically there's a bunch of human women who are kidnapped by aliens. That ship crashes. They are saved by these other aliens on this very inhospitable ice planet that they call Not Hoth, and they learn to coexist, and it's a bunch of romances. The previous book to this one follows a very loud car going by. Lila, who is Maddie's sister, Lila and Maddie are rescued separately from the other group, and Lila gets kidnapped by this guy who's trying to force resonance, which is like essentially becoming mates. Um, but she gets rescued, and her story is great. The guy who kidnaps her is Hassan. So he is the love interest in the book for the sister of the one he kidnapped, which is a delicious dynamic, and it was not disappointing in the slightest. I do think Maddie was a little bit annoying in the beginning, but she really mellowed out. So Maddie is a plus size character, and she is also understandably very mean to start with. Like, her sister gets kidnapped. Obviously, she's going to be like freaking out and throwing fits. But she, in the beginning of this book, is constantly like, oh, they don't like me here because I was such a bitch, but I was just trying to get my sister back. And also, like, I'm fat and I eat more food and I'm not as, like, contributing to the group effort, and that's why they don't like me. And I'm like, Maddie, maybe they don't like you because your attitude. So she does kind of chill out, make amends with people, but it was quite rough. There was also a big twist at the midpoint. So I mean, I can't speak for every single Ice Planet Barbarians books, but most of the like midpoint twists don't have to do with the romance. They have to do with like the world building and overarching series plot. And this book was no different, and it shook me. I was absolutely floored getting to the midpoint twist of this book, and we will be seeing the fallout of what happened then in the next book. The next one is Barbarian's Heart? Hope. The next two books, one of them is Barbarian's Heart and one is Barbarian's Hope. I don't know which order they go in, but I'm so excited. The next one is Stacy and Pashov's story, and I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm chomping at the bit. So yeah, definitely a fantastic read. I love the series. I'm excited to keep going. And the other book that I put in the A tier was Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wong. I have a vlog for this one because this was my pick for the Honeybee Society book club for January and February. That is my book club where we read one dark academia book every 2 months, and I really, really enjoyed this. I don't know why I'm surprised by how much I enjoy it, but it is a little bit surprising. I I was floored reading this. Like, it was a little bit heavy-handed in its themes and stuff like that, but it was still really enjoyable. I thought the character work was very good, and the ending, I was crying. I genuinely was so distraught. This does not have a happy ending, but it does have a hopeful ending. And if you want my full spoilery thoughts on this, definitely check out the vlog that I did because I give you all of my thoughts as I read the book. It's so good. I really, really enjoyed this. And then we have the final tier, the S tier, which stands for sublime, specifically in the way that it is said in the Barbie movie, because I think that's really funny. And we have one book in this category, the last book that I'll be talking about in this video, and that is The Tatami Time Machine Blues by Tomihiko Morimi. This is the sequel to the Tatami Galaxy, which I read a couple of years ago and absolutely loved, though I did not like the anime adaptation to it. The Tatami Galaxy is like alternate universes, and the anime adaptation just added way too many layers to it, but I still really, really love the book. It was one of my favorite books of, I want to say 2024 is when I read it. And then this one, I will say time travel is not my favorite of the sci-fi tropes, but I had a really good time with this. This one, the same characters uh, don't exactly have like memories of having lived the alternate universes, but instead it's like a movie idea that they have because our main character, well, our secondary main character, Akashi, is a filmmaker. Our main character is the protagonist. He doesn't have a name, but we see things from his point of view. And essentially, the same cast of characters from the first book end up finding a time machine, and they travel back in time one day in order to try and prevent the breaking of the air conditioner in their building, and it's really funny. This is based on a play, apparently, called like The Summertime Machine Blues or something like that, where it's essentially taking the entire plot of that play and just inserting these characters in it, which is really funny to me. And the translator, Emily Balistrieri, they have like a little afterword in this, and in it they compare this and the original play to A Christmas Carol and A Muppets Christmas Carol, which I just think is a very funny comparison to draw. I do really want to read more of this author's works. I know they have The Night is Short, Walk On Girl. Yeah, that's what it's called. And I believe that was also translated by the same translator, but I don't know if any of his other works have been officially translated into English. My boyfriend has been reading them as unofficial, like, fan translations that he found on Reddit, which is kind of hilarious. But yeah, the first two books that I've read by this author have just been absolutely fantastic that I want to read even more. So those are all of the books that I picked up in February. Let me know down in the comments what you read and what you would rank those books at. Hopefully you had more S tiers than F tiers, but I don't know, I can't judge that. I didn't read your books and I don't have your reading taste. But that does bring us to the end of this video, and if you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I will see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone!